Hi guys, good morning. This is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. For those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much for your subscriptions. If anybody's interested in supporting me on Patreon, you can go to patreon.com and look up Engelgeist and choose a subscription level over there. You'll get the daily forecast a day early. There's also other availables only available over there, depending on the subscription level you choose. This is a broad spectrum daily forecast for anybody that may watch it at any point in time, really. So it's not only set for the specific day that we originally made it for. For those of you that are my regular tune-in viewers and we're paying attention to how the cards play out throughout the week and the month and all of that, then this would be your reading for Sunday, the 6th of December. So this is a new week we're starting from the 6th through the 12th. You guys already understand, but for those of you that are new, this is like a macro-micro reading in the sense that it doubles as the reading for Sunday on a micro level. But on a macro level, it also deals with the energy that we might be experiencing throughout the week. We then take these cards and we build upon them through the daily readings that follow. So, let's see what's going on. I will say this, if nothing resonates or it doesn't make sense, it doesn't really connect to your situation, that's completely fine. It doesn't mean anything's wrong. You could just be working on something different than what others are. Other planets, houses, whatever could be in effect for you. And if it does make sense or it does resonate, it does fit your situation, or you're like, oh wow, I understand what he's saying. Any decisions you make after having watched any of my videos, excuse me, they are your responsibility, those decisions. And so therefore, be smart about whatever decisions you make, be intuitive about whatever decisions you make. Always take your own gut instincts or personal intelligence ahead of anything anybody else might say, right? And also, another thing I need to caveat with is do not take my advice or my readings over anything that is advised to you by a professional in their field, i.e. a lawyer or a dentist or a doctor or, a therapist, right? Always listen to those that have studied in their field and that know what they're talking about first and foremost. All right, so let's get into this energy and see what we need to know for this week from the 6th to the 12th. December's just going to fly by too. I can feel it. We're already at first week. The first week is down in December. And it feels like it just started. I have to say I'm a little groggy this morning. It's really cold outside, and so it makes me like real slumberhead, like sleepyhead. Each card's going to represent for a few days of the week. Some of you might experience only one of these cards. Some of you might experience all of these cards. So there is flexibility. Take what you need and leave the rest kind of thing. All right. Excuse me, I need to take a sip of coffee. My throat is like super dry. What is going on? All right. So our first card is the Seven of Pentacles. Sevens to me are always about conscious change. Pentacles being about the element of earth energy, or not conscious change, conscious choice. Sorry. Little brain dead this morning. And sevens being about that choice, pentacles being around the home life, material goods, money. We might be a little bit focused in the early part of the week of how to better our situation, how to work harder, how to sort of put in efforts that are grounded, practical, and intelligent towards making better experiences for ourselves. I don't necessarily see the pentacles in this card unless they're those red beads at that bird's foot, but I do feel like there's an emphasis on the home because this bird is in this thicket of bushes. So some of you guys might be focused on sort of how do we better our home life, or maybe the relationships that we deal with within our home, within our family, or within our significant others. How do we put in the work and meet the challenge that those things present, right? So that we can make them sort of flourish a little bit more, or giving attention to things that we think might bring us happiness through hopefully creating more stability, right? Through taking choices, perspectives, I don't know if guidelines is the right word, but like towards building better, firmer foundations. That's kind of the feeling that I get from this card, is that this bird wants to sort of build its nest, doing the work, taking care of things bit by bit. There is a patience with Pentacles energy. I'm sorry, my throat is really like dry at the back of it. I'm not sure what's going on. I hope I'm not getting sick, like just like a regular cold. So my voice does sound kind of butch and deep, so I don't know, maybe that might be the case. It's been cold here the last few days, so I've not been really feeling it. I don't like being cold. All right, so I feel like, there is this sort of concerted effort. The emphasis will be on being logical, more grounded, more practical about the steps that we take, a little less dreamy, a little less, I don't want to say there's like no hope here. It's more, to me, this card feels like it's more about work than being hopeful, right? Being practical, doing what we need to do, putting in the hard work, putting in the effort, putting the focus on, whatever is around us that's important to us, be it our home, our job, our family, that sort of a thing. I like the energy of this card. It feels a little bit less dreamy. A lot of what I've been talking about is hopes and desires in the last few weeks of, there's been a lot of like what I feel like is Wands energy, which is about kind of getting turned on and fired up about something that we deeply want, and then kind of trying to hold true to that and pursue it. To me, this feels more ramped down, a little bit more patient, a little bit more slower, a little bit more practical. That could also be the colder months coming in, right? It's also December, so we're maybe trying to prepare for just the end of the month at this point and the end of the year. So that could be it. And we're like looking at things around us from a very practical sort of standpoint, and how do we sort of do any last minute changes or work to better our situations. I feel like this feels very, what's the word? I keep saying practical. I don't want to give you guys practical again. It feels very like maybe pragmatic is a good word. Steady. There does feel to be like a focus with this bird in the sense that we might. My God, my throat is working my puss this morning. Okay, so there's a steadiness to this. There's also this idea that we might be looking at things with a little bit of a finer tooth comb as to the reality of, say, our financial situation or where our home life is at. Where can we make improvements? Where can we put in, last minute work to settle situations and move ourselves forward in a productive manner? Does that make sense? But also, excuse me, the 7 is about consciously choosing that, right? So like really kind of putting that in our sights and going after it and starting to put in the work. However, even if it's tedious work, we're going to do it. We're going to tackle it in the beginning of the month or the beginning of the week. Now let's look to the midweek. Okay. So midweek is Major Arcana. I love this card because I've never seen a hermit card depicted with a bear. But I love that his lamp hangs around his neck. It almost feels as though it's a part of him, which the lamp always sort of signifies the internal learning that we gain. And I like that the 7 of Pentacles has sort of got this blue tones to it, right? This sort of cooler, calmer, collected feeling, where the bear has these more orange and red tones, which to me feel more about, say, maybe the spirit, about going inward, maybe withdrawing, finding out sort of some significant information for ourselves that helps us out through this week. Going, like having those discussions with ourselves. Is this what we really want? I almost look at this 7 of Pentacles, and so let's say, and I'm just using this as an example, so this may apply to some of you, and some of you it may not, but that's okay. The 7 of Pentacles would be more like looking around our life and going, okay, what can I do this week to like make my situation better? Is it going for that, job interview? Is it like paying a little bit more attention to my loved ones at home? Is it, sprucing up my home and buying a few like creature comforts that I would really like to have? Can I afford them? That sort of a thing. It's very practical, right? But also doing the work to get it done, right? There's I don't want to say a seriousness, but like a sort of a certainty, a calm, cool, collected feeling. By the midweek, the bear comes in, or this hermit comes in, and it's like going inward and asking ourselves even deeper questions about, do I have everything that I need? Have I accomplished everything that I wanted this leading up to this week? Is there something more within me that I might need to sort of explore, find, and challenge myself? I love that the bear is depicted here because there's a strength with this bear that you don't necessarily see sometimes with the hermit card. It kind of has this feeble aspect, or he feels lonely. This bear to me feels much more self-assured. Yes, there's a loneliness or a isolation mode kind of thing going on, but that's also hermit energy, right? We want to bring that in. Hermit is associated with the sign of Virgo, I believe, and so again, we're staying with this sort of pentacles, practical, grounded nature. This could also be, and I don't know, I mean, I might just be attributing my own weather situation to things, but this introspection and this sort of looking at our, first through the Seven of Pentacles, looking at our situation and beginning to make the changes that we feel as though we need at the end of the year, or at least during this week, to sort of better our situation, coupled with the Hermit, also is about doing that, but doing that in a more internal, sort of spiritual, self-aware space, right? So whatever we're doing externally in the beginning of the week, we then begin to shift into a more powerful, stronger internal drive or desire that is calling us to kind of get ready. And it's interesting too, because the bear hibernates, right? The bear sort of, as we go into winter or into deeper winter, there's this natural need for the bear to sort of close down shop and kind of go into his hibernation. And that might be what some of you guys are doing, and that Seven of Pentacles energy might be a little bit of tying up any last minute loose ends that need to be tied up so that you can go into this hibernation mode. And what I mean by hibernation mode isn't necessarily cutting ourselves off from the world, but it could be about settling everything up prior to, say, the last part of the month, which will be the craziness of Christmas, the dealing with relatives, the getting ourselves through the holiday, getting ourselves into, the new year, and doing so in a way that feels stable, powerful, self-aware, all of that. So there's certainly, with both of these cards, it feels calm, it feels steady, the energy, and it feels, I want to say almost like well thought out, practical, that kind of a thing. So keeping that level head this week will be really key, at least during these first 2 weeks. Let's see, these first few days, I mean. Okay, and so then the last card is the Eight of Cups. So now seeing this Eight of Cups, I instantly get this hit that, are some of you guys contemplating leaving something? And this might be only for specifically a few of you. This Seven of Pentacles to me feels like maybe we're doing an inventory, taking an overhaul, looking at things and things that need to be changed, done to better our situation. The Hermit requires us to go in and really ask ourselves the serious questions and get those answers from deep within. Those answers will be powerful and significant. If those answers are that something is not working for us, the Eight of Cups certainly speaks to this idea of packing up our toys and going home, or moving to a different situation. Cups being the element of the water, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's emotionally again, it's sort of similar to that Seven of Pentacles in the sense that I feel like it's bringing us into this state of, is this really working for me? What more do I need to make it work better? That kind of a thing. The Eight of Cups feels like it's not necessarily working for me. It's maybe time to move on. So if some of you are making a decision about a departure emotionally from a situation, it could be work, it could be relationships, it could be, maybe it's just a simple decision of, I'm not doing Christmas this year. I don't want to deal with people, or I don't want to be involved with all of that. I feel like this is about sort of preserving oneself. Also with that Hermit energy in the middle, the focus is very much about sort of withdrawing and listening to one's own voice versus the voices of those around us, or the opinions of those around us and what they need, right? Versus what we need. So I like this because it feels very self-focused. Some decisions by the end of the week might actually get made for ourselves, or clarity may come around us emotionally that inform us of what's better suited for us, where we need to like sort of move towards and head to next. But I don't feel like it's a bad I don't feel like it's a bad reading, but I feel like it's a very honest reading. Like this week might be about us getting very honest with ourselves about what we want, where we want it, how we want it, isn't really fulfilling us or serving us. And then possibly by week's end, really starting to begin to take action and doing it. I do get a little bit of a forlornness with these cards. Like, I'm not sure, I'll go so far as to say, are some of you suffering from depression? Could you be feeling a little bit down? If you are during this week, and we'll look at this energy each day as it changes, but I kind of feel like there's maybe some sadder, heavier decisions or things that we're looking at, things that we're trying to assess, change, move, make different, that bring about a little bit of melancholy, a little bit of hard decisions that need to be made, a little bit of soul searching that's going on throughout this week. This also could just be the seasonal effectiveness of we're coming into Christmas season, and sometimes for people that can be very hard. So we're sort of, I like that we have this hermit in the center where we're relying upon ourselves, our own knowledge, our own spiritual connection, and tapping into that to keep us strong through this week. And that strength actually prompts that sort of decision, I feel like, is in the Eight of Cups, where we decide to no longer maybe engage with a certain situation or person that doesn't bring us pleasure anymore, that doesn't treat us correctly, or do you see what I'm saying? And so, although it makes us sad that we might have to stop engaging in that, we're listening to that moon above his head. We're moving in our emotional centers. We're moving in understanding that kind of like the efforts that we make or the choices that we have to make, right? The removal of certain things or where we move ourselves to next is ultimately going to be better for us and bring us into a state of balance. Would I say this is the happiest week? I don't get that impression at all, guys. I get that this could be a fairly, like, what's the word? Maybe slow moving week. It feels a little bit depressive to me. Not that it has to be like full board depression for any of you, but it's got to be a bit more somber, reflective would be these words. Like all of these cards, even the Seven of Pentacles to me feels about reflecting on what we have and what we can change and what work we can do to go about doing that. The Hermit is definitely about reflection and inner soul searching. And then that Eight of Cups to me, he really feels like through that reflection, we've kind of come to an emotional understanding that, look, I need something else. I need to listen to my intuition and my emotions and get moving on. Pack up my tools, my toys, and move to something better. So, there could be an honesty with ourselves this week that could be quite powerful. And ultimately, I think that it's going to be for our best. Alright, so let's see what the card is from the Song of My Heart. What's our heart up to this week? Oh wow, it's the same card as yesterday. I am worthy of love. Like the Order of the Sisters of Compassion on the Wanganui River, I believe in myself and my purpose. So I feel like that this truth is in this church that's presented around her third chakra, right? Third chakra is how we manifest our power and manage our energy center in the outside world. This being worthy of love is really, I feel like, honestly, we're looking at this Seven of Pentacles energy in the beginning about, okay, what changes and choices do I need to make to sort of better my material situation, my standing in the world, how I feel in my world, my home life, whatever that is, wherever I feel most comfortable. Do I feel safe? Do I feel comfortable? Is there something I need to choose, some sort of action I need to take that will stabilize this for me or make me feel, expand it in some way, shape, or form? There's questions being made at the beginning of this week. To further answer those questions, we need to go into the depth of this Hermit energy, but there's a strength and there's a beauty in this Hermit energy. And Hermit is also the sign of Virgo. So it's like, again, we're staying in that Pentacles, grounded, practicality, maybe slower energy, a little bit heavier or darker, but that's okay. We're also in winter, so that would make sense. The Eight of Cups. Eight of Cups is not necessarily a bad thing. It usually can mean that just sort of moving on to something that's better suited to us. But I feel like there is with this particular art, it feels a little bit sad. Like maybe we finally have come to the terms with the decision that, okay, this is not working for me, or I need something different. So I'm going to start to take steps to what feels right, to what feels connected, to what I feel is more important to me. All of this is sort of being based on the what I feel like is the second and third chakra, where that church lies, right, in that woman's picture. To me, the second chakra is our emotions. The third chakra is about our energy and power distribution into the material world. So keeping this focus of I am worthy of love, we need to understand that is what we're surrounding ourselves with. Is it really the most optimum thing that brings us about that feeling of love? And if some of you find that the answer is no, which you might be finding that throughout this week through these cards, that's completely acceptable and understanding, because I feel like her job here is to remind us to stay worthy, stay in that worthiness, stay in the purity and the truth of that, right? That's that church that sits in her lower chakras. There's some sort of I don't know if sanctity is the right word, but there's something sort of sacred about what's going on in our lower chakras through our emotional center in our third chakra, about, how we're feeling and then what we're doing through our third to make these things happen. The other thing I love is those two blossoms right next to the church, which says that there is new growth, there is new opportunity, there is understanding and beauty around the corner if it's not here already. We may not see it because we're a little bit, fearful about making too many changes, but as we begin to make those changes and take action, and I also get a feeling because of the slow energy of these three cards, this could be something that we could be dealing with, like, say, this week and maybe next, and this worthy of love is a big, big lesson, right? It's not always easy to sort of put aside how we're treated in the outside world, or how other people perceive us and what they give us, and not acknowledge that and factor that into our perceptions of things. But I feel like she's standing in her own truth of being worthy of that love, no matter what's going on in her outside world or what she's experiencing. Okay, I fucking love that grounding stone. The grounding stone is on marble, which is a very strong, nice stone. It is clarity. Ground in your clarity this month, or this week, I'm sorry. Ground in the clarity of the reality of whatever it is that you're looking at this week. If this resonates only with some of you, that's completely understandable. If those of you that are on a higher vibration, feeling more positive, this may not be your reading. But for those of you that are struggling with things or looking at things and going, is this really working for me? Are you listening to the voice that's deep within you that might be telling you it's time for change? There's a strength in that hermit too, with that bear, that you don't necessarily traditionally see, but the bear feels very strong. There's some strong lessons in the midweek as to the reality surfacing as to what's feeding us, what's taking care of us, what's really serving our highest good. By the end of the week, we begin to start to take those steps emotionally to making those changes. And this whole time, we need to be based in this idea of keeping our minds, our hearts, our emotions, all of those things as clear as possible as we work on whatever these cards are representing for us in each and every one of our lives. They're going to be different avenues or situations in our lives, but ultimately it's about, the funny thing is it's not spring, but this feels like a spring cleaning that's taking place prior to the end of the year. Anything we don't want to take with us, now is the time to start to look at it, because we've got, 3 more weeks before we really need to kind of come to, not terms with it, but sort of begin to sort of let that go, be in this clarity, be worthy of that love and understanding that we're worthy of that love, and removing away anything that's not providing us with that love, with that inspiration, so that we can go into 2021 feeling more open to better things coming to us, to things that are more in alignment with us, that provide us at not only just say a monetary level or an emotional level, but at all levels on a bigger and better scale. That is your forecast. That was a long forecast. I'm sorry, guys, but that's what I'm seeing here. I would love to hear your comments as you go through the week and see if any of this resonates, if it makes sense for you guys. I really feel like this is a very beautiful, self-focused reading. The energies or the cards, these cards feel very internally focused, and maintaining that clarity is also about like listening to ourselves first and foremost over anything else that we're getting from our outside environment. Okay, that is your forecast, guys. Please hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Hit the subscribe button if you feel like you want to subscribe. We do this daily forecast every day. We also have monthly forecasts for each of the signs, and the yearlies are going up this week, so you can look out for those. And again, I appreciate each and every one of my viewers, and each and every view, and each and every like. They all help me out to keep this channel going. So please consider doing all of those things for me. And I will see you guys soon. All right, take care. Bye-bye.